Just like any fairy tale starts, once upon a time, the Harry Potter franchise was a force to be reckoned with in young adult fantasy space. So much so that there are many YA fantasy works that are inspired by it. Now coming to the point, there are so many fantasy books, films and series for Western audience. But we Indian kids never had any big fantasy series and franchise. And sometimes it makes me wish that India had a fantasy book series or a film franchise on our own. So as a kid, I always had a dream of creating a secondary world and telling stories in that world. Did I ever achieve that? Well, yes, and it actually started as a Harry Potter fanfiction, since that was a big part of my childhood. This is how I created a fantasy franchise, and since no one's ever going to discuss about it, since it's not really that popular, I thought I will make a video about it and explain my fantasy world to you from a filmmaker standpoint, its history and so on so. And before we get into the video, don't forget to watch some of my short films. If you really like it, then you can share it with your friends, leave a like button and maybe subscribe, maybe, only maybe, only if you like it, by the way. And thank you. Sorry for this interruption. Okay, let's get back into the video. I'm really sorry about that. Now, where was I? Oh yes, Harry Potter. Do you remember the time turner from the Prisoner of Azkaban? Well, I was very fascinated by time travel in my childhood. And if you don't know, I have made like 4 or 5 films on this topic alone during that time. This was the time where I have made a short film and released it on my YouTube channel. It was the first one that I have made, and it was a sci-fi short film. So I thought what to make next, and I came to the conclusion that I should make a fantasy short film this time. And I thought, hey, let's make a Harry Potter fan film. So I gathered my friends and I relayed this idea to them. So they said, okay, let's make it. During the process, we were faced with a problem, which is we have no props like a wand or even a time turner. So we sadly had to back down from this idea, and I have to come up with a new idea at that time, which is what if we make a film about a time robber who steals the time energy. Why did he steal it, you ask? It's because there have been some conflicts between magical beings and us normal humans. And if it actually continued like this, soon it will end up in a disaster. And what would this man do with it exactly? I don't know, at least I did not at that time. Since it's supposed to be the first day of our shoot, we thought just shoot some scenes and later we can come up with new scenes. Well, let's just say after shooting for 2-3 days, the shooting stopped because the actors bailed out, they have other things to do. So I thought, okay, let's postpone it to the weekend, and I waited for them. They never came at that time because they were busy. Oh, I was so heartbroken. We only had like 3 or 4 minutes of the footage on my phone. And after some time I was like, damn it, it's over. There's nothing I could do. So after some more days, I decided to dub it with my other friend. That's why the voices does not match the actors. And released this unfinished, poorly made fantasy short film that was originally supposed to be a Harry Potter fan film. And to my surprise, it was well received, relatively well received by the way. And I thought we could flesh this out in a sequel. This happened back in 2018, and after all these years, there's still no sequel, man. And I pretty much think that I could not revive this particular films and turn it into a franchise. Let's move on. And after this, in the same year, I made another 3-minute fantasy short film. This time it was based on those sleazy kids animated fairy tales from YouTube channels. Don't ask me why I actually get inspired by those. This time it was a moralistic and very absurd and fairy tale-esque short film. In this one, there's a kid who's living with his absent maternal uncle. So he gets gifted a magical cap by his uncle, which will produce a gold coin, and there is also a problem with it. You have to watch it to know what the problem is. It was also well received from whatever my audience were in the past. Let's move on. After some time, in the very same year by the way, I made another short film. This time it was about a family of siblings who have lost their parents and recently moved to another house, which was suspiciously cheap. Why you ask? You have to watch it to know the answer why it was cheap. That night, on the same day they moved in, some bizarre occurrences happened. And they'll get their explanation, don't worry. This time they will get their explanation of what was happening at that time. It was also fairly successful and I actually had fun making it, It was such a big cast. This time I also wanted to make a continuation for this particular film because I loved the experience. But let's just say that I moved on to other projects. At the end of the year, I had this epiphany, which is why not create another universe this time with a fantasy element to it, like a fantasy franchise. I mean, I do have some films that could get a continuation in this genre. So I thought, why not actually amalgamate some of this into a cohesive fantasy universe. So I put some thought into it and rewatched some of my fantasy films, and surprisingly I found some weird connections to some of the projects. Weird means, let's just say that since I am a homemade filmmaker, I have to make a lot of things in my house, and also a lot of the cast members are also the same since they are my friends and family. So these were some examples of the connections. The greedy boy's uncle's house that he was staying in at that time was also the same house that the time robber was staying, and the actor who played greedy boy also played the only male sibling in a house of time traps. And after giving some thought, I was elated by this idea, of combining all three short films and making a sort of continuation. And in mid 2019, during the summer holidays, I made a short film and released it, which combines all these three projects. It's called Finding Amin, and at that time it takes place in a world called Wonderworld. Yes, that was the name of the franchise. I know that it's a very lame name, but what I had in mind was very different at that time to what I have now. So all the cast members were in this, not only them, but there are also a lot of other characters, and I had to make, let's just say I had to set up a lot of other spin-offs and the continuation of this, since I do not plan to stop this anytime soon. Let's just say it was a really big project, and it was also going to be the last project that I make for some time, since I was going to my 10th standard at that time. This was such an exciting project, by the way. But is this a success? It was actually a success. A lot of people liked it, but I have to say it was not. And this film was a narrative failure, by the way. It's filled with plot holes at the size of a manhole. And it was like a post-Endgame Marvel movie, just filled with unnecessary future setups, unrelated cameos, and bizarre solutions to the problems that was introduced in the previous films. The original edit of this short film was such a mess, by the way. Oh my god. I botched a perfect golden chance with this, It was at least over at that time. It was such a disappointment to me, at least. So your dream of creating a fantasy franchise was dead, you may ask? But no, actually, I re-edited this film, and changed some things and deleted some unnecessary cameos and some sequences that were not important to the plot. While there are also some things that I do not like in this version too, but it was more of an acceptable edit. So I changed the world from Wonderworld to wonderorbis. Yes, that is the official name of this fantasy world. And also, like I told you, change some world building elements. Like this time I moved away from my Harry Potter fixation and named it out, there are some magical secret societies in our earth. There's a planet called Orbis that is a magical world, and it has some connections to the earth. It was something like that at that time. And let's just say we jump forward into 2020. I made a spin-off film of a character that was introduced in the original cut of the Finding Amin. The main character was a young beggar who's on verge of dying. Like I said, you have to watch the film to understand what was happening. I will not reveal any plot details here. Also, from this point on, I have started outlining some plot points and characters and some world building elements to better have some sort of cohesiveness. And some characters are going to be important to my world in future too, but still having some space for improvisation if anything happen. Like, I am not going to make the same mistakes again, right? I'm not going to make any mistakes, right? Yeah, let's just go into future. After this, I have made a kind of a spin-off prequel short film. It's a prequel short film that fully takes place on wonderorbis, by the way. This time, we are moving away from Earth. And it takes place 500 years before the current timeline. Yeah, 500 years before. It's called Music of Him. In 2021, I re-edited this film and turned into a rotoscope animated short film. And I also cut out some fluffy and unnecessary sequences here too, and I changed some characters slightly, because at that time I did have some plans for a particular character, so I do not want the original fate of the character to be in this edit too. I'm actually very satisfied with the results, and a lot of people do love it, by the way. And once again, in the early 2021, this time I re-edited Finding Amin again. Why, you may say? Like I told you, I was not satisfied with some things. So to make this much more aligned with my new vision for the series, this time I actually edited some things out and added some more things into this short film to make it much more cohesive. I was pretty satisfied with the results, and I also renamed this film into Tears of Amin. Yes, Finding Amin is gone. It was also much more apt title. This time Mr. Silly was absent from this film, so Brave Spirit makes his first appearance in the franchise. Now again in early 2021 I made another short film called Under the Garden. This acts as a bridge between the spin-off era and the current era. Once again we see Amin or Golu or the greedy boy, the one who's becoming the poster child of this franchise by the way at this point. The film also sets some things up for the future and also acts as sort of a teaser to the next film. It was fairly good by the way, a lot of people do like it. Okay, now around the mid 2021 I made another short film that ushers a new era of wonderorbis. This time I had much more of a concrete plan and made this massive 36-minute short film called Children of Wonders, Struggle of Farida. Farida is a character from A House of Time Traps by the way. This film was one of my favorites that I made. I love how the characters get developed in this film. I mean, while still being a little bit of a jerk, grows a little bit as a person too. And Farida, the youngest sibling, gets more agency as a character. And I will not spoil this any further. Watch this even though it's a little bit longer. I think you might like it. Well, now we have reached the current film, the second part of the Children of Wonders era, called Children of Wonders, A Song of Two Birds. This was a conversational love story that was initially written to be a little different, but life happened and I had to make some adjustment and turn it into a 9 minutes affair compared to the previous entry. And this was very character focused too. There's not much of a plot, but I'd say this was a lovely film. The story takes place during winter season or heme season as Orbis people call it. And this time this focuses on Inessa Liliana and Spelly. And I will not reveal much, you have to watch it. But I'll say there was one major problem with this film. That is, at that time, my stupid brain has used 3 AI generative images in this film. Yes, I know I made a terrible mistake. And I know I never should have used an AI. I was a little bit naive and it was a new thing at that time. And I thought, I don't know, let's just implement this. What could go wrong? At that time, I did not know how the generative AI works. So, yeah, I have generated 5 or 6 images. I don't remember, but the results were, let's just say, very underwhelming. And I had to use 3 specific images because they are very specific. I couldn't find it anywhere else. And I also don't have money to commission an artist. Let's just say that in the past I have committed copyright infringement by the way. I did not know at that time and I have used some artwork and backgrounds that were not royalty free or copyright free. While I have actually credited the artist and I will not make a single penny from the short films themselves. So yeah, I thought let's just get out of this and maybe use our own images. That's what I actually thought. That was a mistake by the way. I was not satisfied with the results, but the context was important for the backstory of Inessa. Again, I have given a detailed explanation in the comment section of the film. You can dislike that if you want, or I don't know. But before you dislike anything, I urge you to watch the entire film first. It's only 9 minutes and then form an opinion whether this was an AI slop or not. Cause I think despite me using those 3 images, I still love the film and I really regret my decision of adding those 3 images. So I promise not to ever use generative AI ever again. Well, that's about it. We have reached the end for now. I have given some brief explanation for each film in this franchise. I hope you like it. I hope you watched it. And I'm sorry, this was a very chaotic video. So that's it. It's over. Not exactly. I have a plan to make a third Children of Wonders film in the franchise. It's going to focus on Vidar Ragnar this time. But I am in another predicament now. Cause the actors for Amin and Farida quit being in my films cause they wanted to move on, And why not? It actually makes sense. If you look at my channel, there are not enough views or subscribers or anything. Let's just say no matter how proud of the work that we have done, you're not actually successful. We can even say we failed. It's not exactly like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or even Chronicles of Narnia or something like that. It's not like that. It's not exactly a popular thing, even though I want this to reach the audience that I want, like the kids and the people who love fantasy. But still, it's not like I'm stopped making films in wonderorbis. Like I told you, I'm still writing the third part, even without Amin and Farida, which is going to be a little bit difficult because they are also part of this. And I have to change the plan, by the way. Life happens, man. If you actually have observed, from the beginning of this franchise, I have been changing a lot of stuff cause life happens. And it has been a good enough lesson cause I cannot do what I want exactly. I have to make some changes. I have to compromise in some places, but not at the cost of the integrity of making a short film. I want my short films to be actually good, so that's why I'm kind of in a difficult place now. I'm still figuring out on how to make it actually a cohesive story even without Amin and Farida. So that concludes our video. If you have reached this segment, I thank you for watching the entire thing. And don't forget to watch the films that I have mentioned here. You can search the playlist by typing wonderorbis, or you can go to my channel's homepage, there you can find it. And if you like them, then please consider subscribing to my channel. So that's it. I'm ending this video now. Until we meet again, bye.